Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Alex Lippic. You join us here in Lisbon for EBAday 2024, and I'm delighted to be joined on the sofa by Hayes Littlejohn and Erwin Kulk, both from EBA Clearing. It's nice to see both of you.
Great to be here.
Great to be here with you. Erwin, I'm going to come to you first if I may. Tell us about this recent announcement that you've made.
Yeah, we recently announced indeed that by the end of this year we will have a pan-European verification of Payee service. Now this solution that we will offer to all our Step 2 and RT1 users will allow our participants to verify the information of the Payee before they execute the transaction. Basically, they're also asked by the instant payment regulation to detect anomalies of the beneficiary IBAN in combination with the beneficiary name. Now this is a regulatory requirement that they will have to fulfill for all the credit transfers and all the instant payments by October next year. And basically they're obliged to offer each and every customer to be able to do that verification before a transaction is being settled. Now this will be quite an effort for the whole industry to realize this, but the good news is that we already have a lot of building blocks in place. We recently announced our fraud pattern and anomaly detection solution, and we can leverage these building blocks to get it fast and even make it available already by the end of this year.
Sure. Now the announcement also stated that the VOP solution will offer more than just a basic IBAN and name check. So I've got to ask the question, and I'll come to you if I may. Why is that necessary?
Well, verification of Payee is just one aspect of fraud. It gets a lot of airplay. It was named in the regulation as something that's important. Super important also for removing friction in payments processing as well. You don't want to put the wrong name in there and then have it rejected at the other side, right? So these things are really good for processing. But fraud is a very complicated and very adaptive topic, and it's really important to stay ahead of the fraudsters. They are very well organized, they use technology very, very well, and they are able to adapt as things change. And what FPAD does is it's able to use the network view that we have in processing over 22 billion transactions a year to combine with the information that a PSP has in controlling fraud. So what is their customer doing? Where is their customer put the, what channel did they use? That kind of thing. And when that payment is going to be sent, what they don't have a great view on usually is what's happening on the other side of that transaction. So the network view that a transaction processing system like RT1 or Step 2 have can really complement that view and allow them to have a comprehensive view of fraud risk. So it goes way further than the regulation, but that's what our users asked us to do, and they asked us to do that in a pan-European way. And when we do it get a mandate to do something like that, it doesn't come every day, it doesn't come fast, but when we have it, it shows that when things are done by desire, pan-European, by design, pan-European, they can work really, really well and work from end to end in Europe.
Sure. You mentioned fraud. Combating fraud, clearly a big topic, especially at this year's EBAday. Why is it so important for PSPs to collaborate against this big issue of fraud? I'll open that to the floor, maybe Erwin, if you could take that one.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, fraudsters are collaborating a lot, unfortunately, right? And so the industry also needs to join forces to fight fraud. And it's becoming really a big problem. If you look at the uptake of instant payments are ramping up very quickly, but fraud in instant payments in particular as well. We can see that fraud recalls in instant payments are 6 times higher than the regular credit transfer. And given that the instant payment regulation is mandating to make instant payments available in all channels, fighting fraud is important. And joining forces to fight fraud is even more important because banks have a very rich view of what their customers process and do with their banking systems, but they want to complement that with a network view. And when they see that network view, they can, and they do that jointly and make that information accessible to the others, they can help each other also to fight fraud. Moreover, I think it's also important that if you get banks and PSPs, participants, to organize themselves to fight fraud. They can also learn from each other. So if there's an attack pattern in one corner of Europe, the other corner of Europe can learn from that and also build preventive tools for that. So I think collaboration is the only way forward.
Yeah, and I'd like to jump in here also.
Please,
I mean, collaboration is super important. It's at the heart of what EBA Clearing does. All of our systems were developed in a similar way, and FPAD is no different. And the important thing is these kinds of things, whether it's infrastructure or fraud prevention, are not in the competitive space. They are common utilities that all PSPs need to have, and they need to be reliable, fast, and performant, that they can rely every day on them to process their transactions faster and give their customers a better user experience.
So yeah, it's an educational process. It's all about collaboration, and that's why these events are so important. I feel like we've collaborated well over the last 5-10 minutes, so thank you both so much for your time, and we'll let you get back to the busy event.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both.